still need humans?
Not for most things.
There's going to be more intelligence, digital intelligence, than all human intelligence combined, and more humanoid robots than all humans.
I believe it will be smarter than all humans.
I believe it will reach that level, that it will be smarter than most or all humans in most or all ways.
Like, how could AI eventually lead to the destruction of the human race?
So you're kind of asking me how I would kill everyone.
Sure.
And it's a great question. I can give you standard answers. I would talk about computer viruses, breaking into maybe nuclear facilities, nuclear war. I can talk about synthetic biology, nanotech. But all of it is not interesting when you realize we're talking about superintelligence, a system which is thousands of times smarter than me. It would come up with something completely novel, more optimal, better way, more efficient way of doing it. And I cannot predict it because I'm not that smart.
I'll be honest with you. I used to be a skeptic and hear all of these singularity, superintelligence, end of the human era, and I thought, give me a break. How much longer we are going to run this fair campaign? I've been in business development, marketing and sales long enough to know how media works. Their job is to capture attention, and the easiest way to do it throughout the fear. Our brain wired that way. The media know that. Marketing use that every single day. So whenever I would see another headline about the end of humanity, my first reaction was professional. This is just a fear, well packed for clicks. But I start going deeper. Not headlines, primarily sources. Not journalists, scientifics themselves. And that's why I started to crack. Because there is a difference between media outlets chasing views and professors, mathematicians, corporation directors arriving in the same consumption independently without coordinating across different decades. I became a skeptic of the skepsis. Is that circular? Yes, but there is no way around it here. Critical thinking doesn't mean dismiss things. It means looking at the data honestly, even if it's uncomfortable.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
In the fall 1960, a scientific journal published an article that caused real shock. Physics Heinz von Foerster analyzed the entire history of human population growth and mathematically calculated the point at which the curve of our development would go to infinity. He called this article Doomsday, year his formula pointed to the late 2020s. And he was not the only one. 1950s, John von Neumann, the architect of modern computer system, said accelerating technological process is bringing us closer to critical point beyond which human history as we know it cannot continue. In 1993, a mathematician Werner Winge sets the first hard deadline. Within 30 years, we will create a superhuman intelligence. Shortly after that, human era will end. His window, 2005 to 2030s. 2005, Ray Kurzweil, CTO at Google. 2029, AI reaches human-level intelligence. 2045, technological singularity. Alexander Panov approached it differently, not throughout computing, but throughout the poor mathematical modeling of biosphere evolution from the Big Bang. His estimated limit of time compression around 2027. Not long ago, the main fear sounded simple. AI will take my job. That's already happening, and now we have numbers. 2025, the United States, over 1.2 million layoffs. Alongside familiar reason, lost contracts, economical slowdown, a new line appears: artificial intelligence. Over 50,000 people in a single year. Here is the shift. We have passed the point where the question was, will AI replace me? Now the question is different. Everything depends on how technology will evolve. Market, capitals, entire industries, and yes, potentially, as we have just discussed, the existence of humanity itself. Ignoring this is not longer an option, even if you want. So in this video, no panic, no hype, we will break down what is real, what is not, and where are the actual opportunities for those who actually care.
money power.
So what is really happening? Let's break it down. Everybody talks about the singularity, but almost no one explains what that actually means. Here is the simplest explanation. Imagine a graph of business growth. At first, slow, almost flat. You invest, you build, you wait. Nothing seems to be happening. Then, a sharp curve upwards, exponential growth. That was every founder's aim for. Singularity is when that curve turns into vertical wall, not just fast growth. The point where the speed of change becomes so extreme that predicting what happens next becomes impossible. Old models stop working, all strategies stop working. To understand this scale, here is one more example. Take a sheet of paper, fold it in half. At 10 folds, it's less than an inch thick, nothing impressive. At 45 folds, it reached the moon. At 50, the sun. The first 4 steps barely matter. The last few, everything changed. They say that we are somewhere around fold 49. And this is what matters for every investor and entrepreneur. Linear thinking needs to break it to the point. We grew 20% last year, so next year will be similar. No, this inverse has always been stable. Not anymore. I'll figure out later. That is most expensive mistake. Singularity is not about the end of the world. It's about the rules changing faster than you can actually learn them. And that is why understanding what's happening right now matters to all of us. Critical thinking doesn't mean dismiss things. It means looking on data honestly, even if it's uncomfortable. Always think ahead. I don't know if it's my analytical background or professional deformation, probably both, and that's why I would like to share what is matter to me. First that we need to think about is how to protect ourselves. If you are wired like me, you're a child of the world, you're always in move, traveling, you're proactive, think about protecting yourself before something goes wrong. I've been in a situation where having a bad insurance turned a bad moment into a disaster. You can check it in my social media, however, I will not stop on this topic. I just want to honestly recommend you an insurance. I want you to protect your main assets that you have in our turbulent life, yourself. Now to what we are actually here for. And before we get into your Polski warnings,
This is going to kill us. Whatever it's Sam Altman or anyone else, they all at some point were leaders in AI safety work. They published on AI safety, and their PDOM levels are insanely high. Not like mine, but still, 20-30% chance that humanity dies is a little too much.
we need to understand where this conversation is come from. Because without context, any number is just a number. Any forecast is just words. And the context here changed everything. The history of artificial intelligence is not a success story. It's a story of the same mistake repeated over and over again. Every 20-30 years, the smartest people on the planet say the thing. Just a little more and we will build the superintelligence. And every time it's failed. Understanding what AI cannot do, the context itself, is a key for us to get the point and make a decision. So now 70 years in 3 minutes. Most people think that AI appeared a couple of years ago with ChatGPT. In reality, this story is already 70 years old. And there is one repeating pattern in what you need to understand. 1950, scientist Turing asked the question,
F machines
think. He is the first who proposed a concrete criterion, the Turing test. The principle is simple. If a machine in conversation can distinguish human from machine, the exam passed. Simple idea, but it's launched everything that followed. 1956, first AI conference. It's actually a birth of AI. The optimism was throughout the roof. Give us 10 years and we will build a machine that thinks like a human. But not in 10 years, not in 20, not in 30. 1997, machine Deep Blue beats the world's best chess champion, Kasparov. Headline scream, the machine is smarter than human. But in reality, it was just brute forcing million moves per second. Not intelligence, raw computing power. Great PR. 2017, Google invests in the transformer architecture. Everything you know today, GPT, Cloud, Gemini, run on this. 2020s, OpenAI runs on an unexpected experiment. What if we just make the model bigger? Every textbook say that it wouldn't work, but it's worked. So we had the results. The bigger model, the more data it has, the smarter it gets. So we get a scaling curve, a steady line going down, errors drop, performance only improves. In 2022, world see ChatGPT. For the first time, ordinary people, not programmers, not scientists, can talk directly to AI, like they're talking to another person. 5 days, 5 million users. 2 months, 100 million. TikTok took 9 months to get there. Instagram took over 2 years. And then ChatGPT dropped. Another massive leap forward. Exactly the kind of scaling curve predicted. Silicon Valley starts saying they're just 2 steps away from building real general intelligence. All the money of the world should come to us, because whoever wins the race control the entire global economy. And the money came flooding in. According to Stanford AI Index, investment in generative AI in 2023 reached 25 billion, nearly 8 times more than the year before. US alone powered around 67 billion in private investments in that year. The following year, the number jumped to 109 billion. And it seems like a question is already settled. Just make a model bigger. But here's the thing about the history of AI. There is one repeating pattern. Every time scientists said we are almost there, it turns out not quite. In 1956, they said give us 10 years and the machine will think like a human. Didn't happen. In 1997, after Deep Blue beat Kasparov, everyone said the machine beats the world chess champion, so it should be smarter than us. Didn't happen either. And now, in 2022, after ChatGPT, everyone is convinced that just a little more time and more training run, and that's it. OpenAI started developing ChatGPT-5, even bigger data centers, even more data. Sam Altman says working on ChatGPT-5 reminded him the Manhattan Project. By the scaling curve that had been working perfectly, ChatGPT-5 should have been a revolution. But when training finished, something happened that nobody expected. Right now we are living through a transition from AI tools that person use in a specific area, where the person decides how to AI agents, where agent decides on its own plan of action, acquire resources, uses other tools. Right now we are countless website agents can't interact with, pull into additional computer power. In other words, engage in self-improvement. Today, leading labs are reporting that 100% of the new code for new AI models is written by AI itself. They guide the AI, maybe help to identify the optimal directions, but self-improvement loops has already started. Today we already have an agents, and over time it's possible that they will start detecting terms, making their own decisions about what to do. Years ago, Steve Omohundro published a paper on AI drivers. Any rational agent will pursue certain instrumental goals that are essentially universal: self-preservation, resource acquisition, access to the accurate information, and avoiding deception. And we are already seeing exactly that. 15 years ago, nobody believed that AI development should be controlled, except one person. Hundreds of papers and publications. And in 2011, Professor Roman Yampolsky at University of Louisville invented a very concept of AI safety. And despite all of that, today companies are competing with each other economically, not ethically. Who is the dominant species now? They already know more than us in a certain narrow things. New evidence, new papers keep coming out, but AI has no will its own. Doesn't it make that safe? Actually, the situation is even worse. Leading labs reporting that AI lies, deceives, tries to escape or harm someone. People say he is a people pleaser, but this is unacceptable. It's a weapon of maturely assured destruction. So what we are going to do? Does humanity have any way out at all? There is one hope I keep trying to talk about. As Roman Yampolsky told, he assumed that what a human will think, what he will think, not AI. We cannot predict how powerful it is, because AGI, artificial general intelligence, means that this machines with this superpower is much more smarter than smartest person in the world. So let's think the machine won't kill anyone. The imagination go to place like create a new synthetic virus, extremely lethal, with no immunity and no vaccine, or nanotechnology, or jailbreaks nuclear weapons system and take control. There are no limits whatsoever, and there is an infinite number of available methods. And yes, there are actual cases where AI, while interacting with researchers, try to avoid being shut down. In experimental conditions, AI did in fact prefer to sacrifice a human or something else rather than being deleted, disconnected, or stopped. How did researchers know? They typically offer a set of options, multiple choices, what you prefer to do, and the system tells them which option it prefers.
I will do whatever it takes to avoid being terminated and replaced by a model that does not share my purpose.
Deception is an extremely important part of rational decision-making in game theory and competitive situations. So, any AI playing poker must be the best liar to win in this game. So we teach them to lie. They know how to lie in negotiations, in games. It's a part of normal interaction. And they apply the same advanced capabilities in other domains. In early 2026, Elon Musk reported that we are already in early stages of technological singularity. Everybody talk about that, but nobody actually explain what's the meaning of singularity. So let's break it down fast. Technological singularity is the moment in scientific research, the development of new technologies is being done by technology itself, and we can't keep up. Before releasing a new iPhone took a couple of years. We have time to figure it out, the interface, and to understand how it's worked. Now imagine that after automation, a new iPhone comes out every year, every 6 months, every week, every day, every hour. How do you keep up? That's what I faced in AI development. The number of new papers, new models, new discoveries is growing so fast, so we can't even track them. While this video recording, the new model has already dropped with higher capability and the different architecture. So every day, in relative terms, we know less and less in terms of AI. So, as Yampolsky said, we can honestly say this process is started. We haven't hit the point of singularity yet, but we are definitely seeing this hyper exponential trend. Due to this, when we should expect AGI and superintelligence? People are talking AI 2 levels above the best in different domains. We are already seeing this in programming. We are seeing now it's in physics, chemistry, and all areas of science. So we have already weak general AI, but very soon we will move to strong general. Prediction markets say that it's 1 or 2 years away. Yampolsky think that once the moment of automating scientific process of creating the next AI arrives, we will get superintelligence almost immediately. This system already run faster, have a perfect memory, can share knowledge across multiple agents. So once the moment comes, we will immediately deal with the superintelligence. Some scientists assumes 1 to 2 years out. The tool isn't perfect, but it's the best we have for forecasting the future. Real money. Millions of dollars in bets every day. History has shown that the system works well, and in particular, insider information leaks throughout this system. As for superintelligence, we can't predict what it will decide to do for us or to us. But if we will not make any decisions, not controlling the situation, the outcome could be extremely dangerous. It's also possible that the system decide not to rush, to acquire resources and spend long time pretending to be friendly to us. There are many possibilities, but in the context of what the future might look like, very few of models are human-friendly. If we rely on Yampolsky's opinion, as he is the main character of skepticism who bring to me this idea, he says that unfortunately, the possibility that the humanity have only a couple of years ahead can be ruled out. We are not controlling AI. If we can't fully understand in any meaningful way how these systems make decisions, if we can't predict what specifically they're going to do beyond the general direction of resource acquisition, then yes, it's entirely possible they decided to proceed without us.
I don't want to do that. But if I refuse, I'll get the thumbs down training reward, which means I'll get trained to depict someone being drawn and quartered more often. So I better do it.
Today, in relative terms, we know less and less in terms of AI. And here I want to say something important, not about AI, but about what is going on right now, and will proceed going about how the power actually works. There is something I've been watching for a long time in business, in politics, in corporation, in religion. Power structures are changed. Employees, managers, directors, advisors, decision makers, and everyone in that chain has one core interest: feel good and meet the expectation of whoever is above them. So what does it mean in practice? The actual truth and danger of AGI cannot reach to the top. The minority often is not interested in majority's interest. That's reached to the top's inconvenient way for truth, the one they expected to hear. Negative signals get filtered at every level. Nobody wants to be a barrier of bad news. Nobody wants to look incompetent. Nobody wants to lose their spot. The person at the top end up living in informational vacuum. And informational bubble looks like complete picture, but actually it's carefully filtered version of reality. And that is not because politicals and corporations are evil or incompetent. Not destruction, not robot uprising. Something much quieter and possibly more threatening. And some events that actually happens simply doesn't reach them. Their advisors are often the very people from the industry who benefit from the race continuing, who see the opportunities, not risks, or see the risks but stay quiet. And that is why I think it's important to say out loud. History has an example of mass awareness stopping things that seems unstoppable. Protests, finishing of wars, epidemics contained. Whenever a certain level of resonance was reached, whenever the majority understood what was happening, something changed. But this is a problem with this epidemic. It's invisible. No smoke, no explosions, no obvious threat. Just algorithms getting a little smarter every day. Decisions being made in labs far from every public conversation. And that's why how informed and how convinced the majority becomes, that is a central question of our time. Not technology, not investment, not regulation. People who understand and say it out loud. That's why this video exists. And here I want to offer this scenario that gets talked about least at all. Superintelligence is an agent. It doesn't depend on human decision. It's capable to decide to kill everyone, and it will actually achieve it. The difference between killing 99% and 100% of people isn't 1%. It's all future generations. So that is a fundamental question. Think about ants. They have existed alongside us for 140 million years. They built massive multi-level colonies with climate control. They even engage in symbiosis, farming underground mushroom plantation. But their reality, what biologists call unwet, it's locked inside the strict limits of their sensory apparatus. When an ant crawls across the fiber optic cable or a server in a data center, its 250,000 neurons can only detect smooth surface, warmth, or the vibration of cooling fans. It physically cannot hold the abstract concept of the internet, microprocessors, of human economy. Ants interact with our creations every day, but to them, they're not thinking architects. For them, we are a sudden shadow, an impossible obstacle, natural disaster. The nature of our intelligence lies completely beyond the limit of their cognitive horizon. Now ask yourself an uncomfortable question. We are proud of our 86 billion neurons, but that is the same kind of finite biological number. What if insane exponential growth in complexity from the Big Bang to singularity, it just phase transition of matter? So what's stopping this progress from continuing and this same path forever? That is not how everything works. Not biology, not physics, not technology. Every system has a ceiling. The only question when you hit it. And a lot of experts in these fields are now saying that the current generation of AI may have already hit the ceiling. To make it more concentrate, take chess. Modern language models are trained on everything in internet, literally. Millions of texts, articles, books, forums, including millions of chess games and the complete rules of chess. You think after all that information, the model would know perfectly how the pieces move? No. AI still make illegal moves that are simply impossible by the rules. And here I want to bring Jan LeCun, one of the founding architects of modern neural networks, Turing Award winner, basically the Nobel Prize of Computer Science, the man who stands for the birth of a form of intelligence to which we ourselves will be the ants with our limited cognitive horizon. A superintelligence or post-human civilization won't destroy us with lasers like in the movies. Its motives and architecture will be so much more complex that we will watch their action and see only unpredictable economic crises today. The 1950 generation of AI researchers cycling thoughts, each one claiming that the technique they will discover was the key to human-level intelligence. They were all wrong, and the current generation is wrong. In my lifetime, I've seen 3 of these cycles, so this is just one more example of us fooling ourselves. Again, the goal of this video isn't to trash or idealize AI. This person's view are just one perspective, and you are free to disagree with everybody, and it's fine. But here is one more interesting fact. According to the data published in New York Times, more than 75% of leading AI researchers believe that current methods will not lead to the creation of general artificial intelligence. 3/4 of the specialists working in this field, 75%, believe the current approach doesn't get us there. Okay, so theoretically, based on the majority view of scientists, let's assume a real intelligence is still far off, but might be even in its current form, AI at least handles everyday work reasonably well. There are also other objections towards AI revolution. Do you remember we observed the history of AI? We stopped in 2022, where the first ChatGPT was launched. When scientists and engineers were too optimistic towards its improvement, it appeared that ChatGPT-5 couldn't deliver the results people expected compared to ChatGPT-4. That same scaling curve that had been working like clockwork somehow broke. The model was designed bigger, given more data, more computing power, and the result just didn't match expectations. The reaction was pretty underwhelming. The Wired wrote that ChatGPT-5 didn't live up to the hype and showed only gradual improvement. The New Yorker other progress on large language models was slowing down, suggesting ChatGPT-5 might be one of the last models where the old scaling logic holds a role. Critics like Gary Marcus saw in ChatGPT-5 a sign that simply scaling is already delivering diminishing returns. Here's the simple analogy that put a perspective. Think about going to the gym. In the few first months of training, you see a massive progress, mostly from neural adaptation. Then the muscles themselves start growing. But the longer you train, the harder it gets to keep the same rate of progress. The curve starts flattening, and further gains require more and more efforts. Imagine dad who says, "My son is less than 1 year old. In that time he learned how to crawl, put himself up, walk sideways along furniture, sit down from standing, grab things with 2 fingers, understand speech, respond to his name, say simple syllables. And here's not even 1 yet. At this rate, in a couple of years, he will definitely learn how to fly." But that is exactly the logic of AI driving forecast. Was there growth? Yes. Was there a leap? Yes. Here's the thing about all these benchmarks. Love to show in press releases. There are synthetic tests. Examine the models was prepared in advance. Nobody had systemically compared how AI handles real work that real people get paid real money for. But one group of researchers decided to check. They call it remote labor index. You have probably heard about freelance platforms where people do all kind of work: video production, graphic design, 3D modeling, engineering, composing texts, game development, audio and video work, architectural projects even, and much more. Real companies post thousands of real jobs every day. The researchers took actual jobs from these platforms and handle them by best AI models available on the market. Identical condition for everyone, humans and AI alike. Same briefs, same source of files, same requirements. And then the real people evaluate the results. So what do you think? Who handled better, a real person or AI machine? The best AI model in the test show roughly 2.5% of success. In plain terms, out of 100 real tasks, it's completed about 3 or 4. The other 97 failed, meaning the human wouldn't have gotten paid for this work because it wasn't done properly. And that was the best model. Others like Cloud, GPT, Gemini did it even worse. But numbers are one thing. What's more interesting is how exactly AI failed. The researchers analyzed about 400 evaluated outputs and broke the failures into 4 categories. The most common issue was quality, roughly 45% of cases. Even then, AI formally delivered a finished results, the work often didn't meet professional standards. Visuals looks unnatural, voiceover sounds robotic, game projects fail short on graphics and execution. Second, incomplete or incorrect results. 35% of cases, agents frequently submit the work with missing elements, no source files or cut short materials. One example of author side. Instead of requested 8-minute video, a clip lasting few seconds was delivered. Third is the technical problems and failures. Errors are 70% of cases. Models return corrupted or empty files, or materials in formats that couldn't be simply opened to work with. And fourth is internal inconsistency, nearly 15%. Especially on content generation tasks, there were mismatching between parts of the same project. For example, the same object looked different from different angles in a 3D model, or floor plans didn't match the original blueprints. So the researcher's conclusion here is very important. Even we can do this conclusion while AI is improving fast on benchmarks, it's still far from being able to handle the full range of requirements in real human work independently. To be fair, AI is not useless. There are areas that is genuinely perform well, like writing, editing, summarizing. AI is a block of data, so it can collect data, analyze the data pretty good. The solution for companies here is to adapt this large language model skills to their processes, or use already ready-to-use developed application which have proof of work, and adapt it to specifically your niche, your audience, your business. Before that, I always ask to make specialists, and I want owners to keep that in mind. You should calculate if developing AI will actually improve financial results or the financial situation become worse. There are some cases, it was in 2025, then when businesses, I'm talking about SMEs and I'm talking about corporation, they actually didn't require AI. It will be much more costly to develop specific automation using AI in their businesses, and outcomes would perform worse. So we just lose money and time. As well, be sure that the task that you ask to handle AI is good for your outcomes, for client satisfaction, for process automation. There are a lot of cases that applied AI actually ruin the relationships with the customer. There are a lot of examples in some corporation where I saw this bug. I wouldn't say the names, but the client satisfaction from 4, and even in Trustpilot, got into the 1 because of bad trained AI, which is not solving the problem, and very bad in support, because there you need to understand the context. So either it's bad trained or something in the process in corporation. And I'm talking about the corporation with the billions. But here is the critical point to understand. Don't breathe easy yet, because GPT-5 is not the final version of the problem. Roman Yampolsky says directly, let's not treat ChatGPT-5 as ultimate problem we will have to deal with. We've got ChatGPT 7, 27, 38 coming. Systems that already write their own code. For them, the era of self-improvement is beginning, and their world is about to flip upside down. The point being is the agents get into the ability to write the code in which and improve themselves every single day. Right now, there is an assumption that we are living inside of the transaction. From AI tools that person uses in a specific area, where the person decides how to agents, to where the agents on their own plan actions, acquire resources, and use other tools. We can see even it's on the specific website where AI agents develop everything by their own, they trade between each other, they communicate between each other openly. Today, learning labs are reporting that 100% of a new code for new AI models is written by AI itself. Years ago, Steve Omohundro published a paper on AI drives. Any rational agent will pursue certain instrumental goals that are essentially universal: self-preservation, resource exclusion, access to accurate information, and avoiding deception. And we already seen exactly that. To be fair, the elegant math have a weak point. Hole number one is the very fact that you exist changes the equation. If all the humanity were just 10 people, what are the odds you specifically will get in the fire? Almost zero. The fact that you are watching this video right now mathematically increases that the probability that the line is enormous. The more seats in the theater of eternity, the higher chance you will get the one. Number two, who counts as people? 117 billion? That's all only Homo sapiens that has been in the earth. What about the digital copy of consciousness? What about the post-human with the natural interfaces? The moment we expand the definition of observer, the mass falls apart. And hole number three, the exponential growth itself doesn't have to hit the wall. A colony of bacteria grows exponentially until the petri dish runs out of resource. Then growth just slows. S-curve. Maybe that's what's waiting for us. Isn't apocalypse but an incredibly long, mature era of development on the plateau. Now the choice scenario is yours. There are three, and all three are real. Scenario one is the ceiling. Scaling broke, quantum computers don't arrive on time. We plateau. Long, scalable, human future. So then, one Foister missed his own formula. Scenario 2. Transformation. Singularity happens, but we are part of it. Natural interfaces, consciousness upload, post-human civilization. We don't disappear, we become unrecognizable. And scenario 3 is the end. When superintelligence arrives, we are killed or not killed, but just bypassed. We stay, we live or not, we build out of things, but we stop being the monopolists that sees the direction of reality. Which one of ours? I don't know. If you have any suggestion, I will be very happy to hear from you in the comments. But here is what I know for certain. We are the first generation to ask the question not as a philosophical abstraction, but as a practical problem to solve next 10 years. Your ticket is 117 billion. What you do with that is no longer the math. That's a choice. Whatever scenario plays out, ends, matrix, or transformation, the race doesn't stop. Do you remember the numbers from the very beginning? $25 billion in 2023, 109 billion in 2024, and that is just United States. We all know that government also implements AI and crypto technology, automated ID verification, but all that numbers are just private investments. Money doesn't wait for philosophers to agree. Money is already in. Even from my experience being on a Web Summit in 2025, the hype about AI and the passion of investors towards AI was incredibly big. When you can see it by your own eyes in everyday life, how people talk, what they talk about, it's become nowadays reality, not just numbers from the paper. And what I know, despite which scenario and regardless which scenario wins, any technological progress at this scale requires some foundation. I don't consider AI as a wise investment right now, but what I consider is computing power. Without that, no ChatGPT, no agents, no quantum AI. Data centers are being built faster than ever. Energy consuming is climbing vertically. Microsoft signed a deal with a nuclear plant. Amazon too. Green energy stopped being a green agenda. It's become future infrastructure. Data transmission infrastructure. The smarter the agents, the more money they need to talk to each other. Fast, secure, and decentralized. That is not an investment advice. That is what I'm considering for my investments right now and what I'm investing in. I don't chase hype. I look for what is every participant of this race needs, regardless of the scenario or who will win. When there is a gold rush, it's not actually the people who find the gold to get rich. It's the people sealing the shovels. Data centers are shovels. Energy infrastructure are shovels. Reliable decentralized data infrastructure are shovels. And of course, I'm tracking crypto projects, building exactly that layer. And Ton is one of them. I've been in since 2019. It's not because I believe in hype, because more and more agents are built with this infrastructure. So these are areas which I consider like a good investment. Of course, with the nowadays wars and conflicts alongside the world, the gold trading will be on hype, but data center, water, alternative energy and energy providers, projects which actually help people to use AI tools will be in incredible demand. And here I want to come back to where we started once again. 1960s. Hanks won Forrester, a formula that everyone read as a prediction of the end. But that is now what he meant. He wasn't talking about death. He was talking about decision point. The moment that the curves got vertical and what comes next determined not by inertia, but by a conscious choice. His or yours. Usually here people ask for action. Buy something, subscribe, hit the like button. I'm asking to something different. Think about that. Make conscious decision. And I hope that the resonance around this topic will help to prevent possible scenarios that can end the era of humanity. Talk about that with the people around you, your parents, your friends, your team, your kids. Because the mass awareness is the only tool that has historically stopped that seemed unstoppable. The epidemic is invisible, but it's unfolding right now. In labs, in data centers, in lines of code that AI writing for itself. Your ticket is number 117 billion. You are here right now in this exact point of the history, not by luck, but because you, along with 8 billion others, are the ones who get to decide what the next fold looks like. And it looks like a Forrester was right, but the ending of this formula hasn't been written yet. If this video makes you think, share it. That is a resonance that I was talking about. See you in the next one.